Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Dorada. Sometimes Christians are falsely portrayed as being anti-science, and I think nothing could be further from the truth. The fact is that the early scientific pioneers and many of the greatest scientists in the world were motivated by their Christian belief that God is a God of order, not of confusion, and that God created a world with natural processes in place that we can observe, that we can understand, and in doing so we learn more about God and the creation that He has made. It's no accident that the modern scientific method developed in countries where people had embraced the gospel of Jesus Christ. In many other parts of the world, people just believed in gods that basically were confusing, that were just mysterious, that things would happen one way or happen another way, and there was no understanding why. But believing that God is a God of order opened the way for modern science. Now, one of the things that scientists are looking for, of course, today is alternative sources of energy. For a long time, we've relied on fossil fuels, such as oil, natural gas, such as coal, or even peat that we would dig out of the earth here in Ireland. Now, of course, the problem with these fossil fuels is that they release carbon emissions that then causes climate change. And also, there's a big issue as well that they're non-renewable, that when they're gone, as the slogan of one popular chain of stores here in Ireland. So scientists are trying to explore other methods of harnessing energy, renewable energy, and they're looking, for example, at wind power and also wave power, the tidal wave, which is actually powered by the moon, and also solar power. Another source of power that scientists are increasingly looking at is geothermal power, because God has placed this tremendous source of energy in the earth, which is a powerful heat. My friend Enzo in Sicily has sent me recently some beautiful photographs showing the power of the heat within the earth being released through a volcano in Mount Etna. Truly awe-inspiring photographs. The fact is that the molten rock at the core of our Earth reaches a temperature of about 7,000 degrees centigrade. And actually, the heat at the center of our Earth is greater than the heat on the surface of the sun. That's absolutely incredible when you think of that heat burning underneath us in this earth. And certain countries are tapping into that. In Kenya, for example, now about 25% of the electricity in Kenya is produced by geothermal heat. Other countries such as Iceland and New Zealand have greatly tapped into this source of energy. Now, in some places it's easier, of course, because the Earth's crust is thinner in certain places than others. There's parts of the world where to get to that heat you'd have to drill down several kilometers. But for example, in the Rift Valley in East Africa, in Kenya, the molten magma underneath the Earth is so much closer to the surface and is released through heated water and steam and other ways like that. The point I really want to make about this is this, that God has placed this energy under the earth, and He's done it in order to bless us. God could have made the earth very differently. He could have made the earth without such heat at its center. But God wanted to bless us, and God wanted to create a resource that we can draw upon. And you know what? There were generation after generation after generation lived on earth without being aware of the power of this resource and how much it could benefit us. If anything, they often saw it, because of volcanoes, they saw it as a curse. They saw it as something that endangered life rather than enabled a better life. And I want to say to you that God has placed blessings in our lives. God has placed blessings in our circumstances. God has placed blessings around us that we can go through an entire lifetime without ever seeing those blessings and knowing that they are there. And then, you know, in the case of geothermal heat, it took scientists to open our eyes to the fact that a blessing was there. Sometimes our eyes are opened in other ways. God opened Hagar's eyes to see a well in the book of Genesis, to see a well that was there. The well was there all the time, but he had to open her eyes to see it. And I believe that today, you might not be a scientist, you may never work with geothermal energy, but I want to tell you, God has placed blessings there for you. And we need to open our eyes, and we need to hear the voice of the Spirit. And you know what? When we begin to do that, we will discover unexpected blessings from our God. My prayer for you today is that you will discover an unexpected blessing, something you never even knew was there, that God will use to touch your life and your heart today in Jesus' name. And join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.